In this video, we're gonna talk about what to do when you sense she's pulling away from you. This is usually where a lot of guys mess up. Now, if you're a guy who's in this position right now, I'm gonna be giving you a step-by-step process that you should do when you're in this kind of situation. And then I'm also gonna talk about some things that you can do so you actually don't get in this situation at all right? Because I've been through this many times. I used to mess up with this before, but most recently, and I'll give you the example, my current girlfriend, yes, she pulled away at the beginning and I was able to make it work. It's actually not that uncommon for women to pull away in the beginning of the dating process. Later on in the dating process, they can pull away as well too for a variety of different reasons. I think it's gonna be most applicable for the beginning of the dating process, but it's also gonna be applicable later on in the relationship if you guys have been dating for a while. So the first thing that I'm gonna give you in terms of steps, when she starts pulling away, you notice the text messages aren't coming in as frequently, or she's giving you like one-word answers. Normally this happens, you notice this over the phone and you get that kind of sinking, anxious feeling. You don't want to overreact. And this is where most guys mess up, especially when it's with someone who they really like. I think a lot of guys can do well unless it's with a girl who they're really interested in. And when this happens, they either do one of two things. Normally it's the first one where they tend to over pursue. They tend to get needy. They tend to start texting her more because there's a gap and they want to fill the space up. They tend to start trying harder. Now, when I first did this, I remember I did this with one girl that I was interested in a long, long time ago. And when I started to pursue her more, that pushed her farther and farther away. The more that you try and convince somebody, the more that you try and show them, the more work you're putting in, it almost feels like it's working against you. Because it pretty much is. When you're really pushing for something, it pushes somebody away. And when you do this consistently, you're going to lose any attraction that you have left. So it's really important that you don't do that. You want to stay here, right? If this is where things were, this is how you were acting, stay there. And if she's going away, you don't run after her, because then she'll run faster away from you, okay? The other thing that guys do is they go the other direction, right? So they're here, person's here, they're starting to pull away, and then they pull. That will make it go away even faster. So maybe they'll block the person, maybe they'll completely ignore them, unfollow them. And a lot of times they're doing this as like a defense mechanism so they won't get rejected. Now, if you're a guy who's watching this and you're like, no, I just block people for my mental health. Okay, if that's the case, ask yourself, am I really doing this for my mental health? Or am I doing this because I don't want to feel what it's like to get rejected? Okay, you have to ask what is going to get you the result that you're looking for. And if you want to date someone like her, who's preferably not pulling away from you, we'll get into that in a second. But if you want to date somebody like her, blocking somebody at the first time that they pull away is not a very good strategy. Which brings me to my second point, number 2, which is you don't want to catastrophize the situation. What I mean by this is you don't want to keep thinking about the worst thing that could happen, which is she's completely lost interest in me and I gotta run, because like I said, it's not that uncommon for women to pull away, at times, a little bit at the beginning. But if you have two people that are pulling away, that are insecure about this, that are reacting and overreacting to the situation, then it cannot work. If you have one person pulling away and one person stays consistent, it has a shot. But if you have two people that are doing that, no shot. Okay, best thing you can hope for is a very toxic relationship that will end in tears. If someone's pulling away, like my girlfriend did at the beginning, we hooked up very quickly. She thought I was kind of a player, and so she pulled away. Now, if I had thought, oh, she's not interested in me, like this is bullshit, we wouldn't be talking right now. I wouldn't still be with her. But because during that period, I knew what I was doing, I maintained my cool, I didn't alter from what I was doing, we're still together. So it's really important that you don't want to catastrophize the situation, blow it up than it needs to be, because then you will do the wrong thing. And in fact, what I'd recommend that you do is assume the attraction. Assume she's interested in you, and that way you'll probably do the right thing, even if it's wrong. Like, I want you to just assume that. Take the pressure off yourself to need to do something crazy to make it happen. Because if you feel like you need to do that, it's probably gonna mess it up. Thing 3 is gonna be, once we've taken the pressure off ourselves and we look at her and what's going on with her, we gotta ask ourselves some questions. Are these red flags? Is this something that she's doing consistently? Is this a way that she's dealing with issues, right? If someone's pulling away because things aren't going too well, or she has a problem or an issue, she can't talk about it like an adult, is that someone that you really want to be with? If you're just hooking up with her, I mean, maybe you can put up with that for a little bit, but even that, dude, I don't want to hook up with someone consistently who's always pulling away and disappearing. I mean, I guess maybe we'll hook up when she comes back, but you don't want that in your life if you really, really like this person, which chances are, if you're watching this video, it means you probably really like that person. So you don't want to be with somebody who's like that. So pay attention to see if this is actually a trend for her, because it may not be you that's causing everything. Most times when I hear about what guys are doing, we'll get into that in just a second, I find that there's usually something that's causing it, okay? But what we don't want to do is we don't want to only be looking at ourselves and think that we have to do something incredible to save this, okay? You're not the only one who's at fault, all right? So decide if this is actually something that you want to be with. Step 4 is to respond, not to react. Reacting involves you doing the things that I said, which is like over pursuing, filling that space between the two of you with like a bunch of text messages, doing grand gestures, going over the top, really trying to pursue her more and showing a lot more affection, or going the opposite direction, which is, blocking her, unfollowing her, or whatever, doing drastic things like that, which, show a level of insecurity. It shows that you're really hurt about this. You're really upset about it. More secure, confident people don't do that sort of stuff. What you want to do is you want to respond, okay? And I actually think if you've been seeing this person for a while and they've been doing this consistently with you, talk to them. The conversation that I had with my girlfriend at that time was, I asked her, we were talking one time, I finally got her on the phone, and I said, hey, how do you feel like things are going between us? And she's like, yeah, I think things are going good. How do you think they're going? And I said, well, I gotta be honest. I've noticed you've been a little bit distant lately. You haven't been texting me as much. Is everything okay? And she said, I don't know, I think things are fine. We don't have to talk about it. And I'm like, look, I'm here for you as a friend first. So whatever you gotta tell me, I'm still gonna be your friend at the end of this. So if you have something you wanna tell me, even if it's with me, I'm all ears. And then I was like, is it, are you worried about what we are? Or do you feel like I'm dating a bunch of other people? And she said, yeah, that's what I was worried about. That's why she pulled away. Now, it may be another reason. I've encountered other reasons where women pull away too. Maybe they felt suffocated. Maybe they felt like this is too much, or whatever it is. The problem is they don't even ask that question. You can be an adult. Believe it or not, being an adult is an option. If she chooses to act like a child, well, then you got your answer. Okay? If she doesn't want to talk about it, if she's not interested, but by you opening that door, at the very least, you've gotten that conversation going. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to assume a bunch of things that are going on that aren't. By you being the bigger person, then you can accurately determine by her behavior what she's going to do. There have been plenty of times where women have given me a shitty answer with that. There have been plenty of times where they've skirted, they haven't been honest with me, or whatever it is. That's a red flag, man. If she's going to do that, that's not the kind of person I want to be with. And then that brings me to step number, I think we're on step 5, right? You gotta be willing to walk away, dude, okay? At the end of this, no matter what happens, you have to be willing to walk away. If she senses that you are not, she cannot respect you, and you have zero chance of getting her to come back to you. Women can sense when a guy really needs something, and every single time that guy really needs something, that woman's gone, okay? So you really gotta mentally be okay with the fact that you may not be able to get with this person, and you have to be prepared for that. If you are not mentally prepared for that, she is going to leave. And I've seen this happen to so many guys, but as soon as the guy's like, you know what? It's fine if she goes, I'm gonna get somebody better, or I'm gonna be fine, I'm excited about this other thing that I'm doing, look who waltzes back in. Look who's liking their Instagram story. Those things will start to happen, okay? But you have to mentally be okay with the fact that you may need to walk away from this situation. Having the courage to be able to walk away solves 90% of these problems, okay? But most guys don't have that. So women are not going to respect you if you put up with bad behavior, if you just continually let her do this. And make no mistake, her pulling away is the sign of disrespect. If you guys were doing something and then you had something going on and she doesn't tell you anything and she's just going dark on you for no reason, that's a sign of disrespect. Make no mistake. And if there are zero consequences to her action, guess what she's gonna do? She's gonna continue to do that. It sets a horrible precedent for the future. You can have adult conversations, but by her pulling away continuously and you putting up with it and continuing to chase her, you have set a terrible precedent for the future. Most likely she's gonna lose attraction for you, but even if it works, you're going to have to constantly be able to do that. And I would suggest, even if guys, there's some advice on there where, you try and make her jealous by taking photos with other girls and stuff like that, posting on your story and stuff, and making it known that you're with other girls. Guys will do that, and that's a one-way ticket to a toxic relationship if you want that. I've done that stuff in the past. Like, yeah, sure, you'll get her jealous and you'll get her mad for a little bit, or maybe you won't, maybe she won't even care. But like, that's the one-way ticket to not a good relationship. If you've said that you have to do this every single time she pulls away to get her back, like what kind of dynamic are you establishing? The only way that you can earn respect is to be confident that you can walk away from this if your boundaries, if your the things that you have in place are not being met, okay? And that's the first step, actually. That's the last step of, what to do when you're in this situation. And the first step of what to do to prevent this is, number one, have the courage to walk away. Number two, what I want you to do, and what leads guys into this position a lot of times, is over texting. If you're texting her all day, every day, if things were going great and you start doing this, you'll start to lose excitement to go see you. You don't need to text her all day, every day. You don't need to be sending her good morning text. Don't be doing any of that, okay? Number three is you want to limit the amount of times that you see her, okay? When guys meet a woman that they really like, this is usually a woman, they usually do fine with women that they don't like and not so fine with women they do. When they get to this point, they want to see them a lot, and they show that with their actions. First date, they're already asking them out on the second date. They're already asking them out, making plans ahead of time, trying to see them multiple times in a week. Even if she was the one who led you into that and she was the one who wanted it, you have to go by the basics, okay? Once a week to start with. Thing four, and this is the final thing, is don't go to her. Too many times I see guys making sacrifices. If she lives an hour away, they drive all the way to her every single time, and she's not driving to them once. Right? You want to get her to come to you. You want to get her to come over to your place. It's really tough to be a man when she's got the home field advantage every single time, right? So you got to make it worth her while to come to you, but if she won't do it, you got to stand her ground and wait. Too many times when guys really like the woman, they won't wait and they'll go to her and it kills attraction. So all of this together, what really matters, you guys, is that if you are in this position, it means there are things that you probably did to get you here, to get you with this feeling, and you can prevent it in the future. You can have the best opportunity to save it. I can't promise you're gonna save it by doing these things, but it's something that I walk through with my clients every single day, and it's honestly something that I dealt with in my own relationship, where she did pull away, she did have all that, and look where we are today. We've been together for 4 years. It can absolutely work for you if it worked for me. Thanks for watching, you guys. Good luck out there.